What is going on, guys? Welcome back to 4No Gaming, and today we're going to cover one of our highly requested videos and one of the questions that we get asked most, especially on stream when we're doing speedruns and things like that, and that is what our loadouts are, what our gun setups are for each boss for this Deepstone Crypt raid. We've pretty much got it down for all the encounters. We've figured out all the one phases and everything like that. So I wanted to just run through all of our gear and the weapons and loadouts that we use for each encounter and kind of break that down for you guys. In case you guys still had any questions on this, we've tested out pretty much all the different strategies and stuff that are out there, at least all the main ones that I've seen, and just wanted to give you guys our opinions and which ones we use and which one we've had tons of success and consistency using for one phases. So let's get right into it. If this helps you guys out, drop a like, be sure to subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. We are putting out all kinds of videos and we stream a lot, things like that. So we'd love to have you guys around to hang out, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, I just wanted to start with a small disclaimer. I'm actually not going to be including in any of these builds any of the new raid mods. These are extremely powerful, so once you get them unlocked and once you kind of have some of this gear, I'd highly recommend kind of coming through and checking some of these out. You're going to need the different types, so solar, void, and arc are going to have different mods for different things. So this one specifically for like the operator, but like with, as you can see, no augment, collecting orbs of power causes you to periodically spawn heavy ammo, which I think is right around 50%. So these are extremely strong. If you do have access to these mods and this armor, then highly recommend using it, but I didn't want to include it in the guide since most people watching these videos are probably only have a couple clears or are just kind of getting started and still learning. So I didn't want that to be in every single build. But yes, if you guys have the new raid mods, raid armor, definitely use it. Alright guys, so let's dive right in. I main Warlock, so that's kind of what I'm going to be showing this on, but this will work for any of the classes. As far as class composition goes, I'd highly recommend having at least 2 Warlocks so that they can chain wells. Specifically on the last encounter, having 2 wells is really important for damage phase. Aside from that, I recommend 1 Titan at least so that you have a bubble. Bubble's really good for Atrax and is also good just like in general at different parts to stand in and kind of avoid damage while you're waiting for damage at certain parts. And then besides that, Hunters are good for Celestial, Nighthawks, but besides that, you can kind of fill with whatever. So yeah, 2 Warlocks at least and 1 Titan at least is what I would recommend, and then you can kind of fill from there. So after you've made it through the spare run and you're moving into the first encounter, here's what I'd recommend. I run a fusion rifle for a lot of the raid, actually. Zealot's reward from Garden of Salvation is awesome. It kills through pretty much everything. There's a bunch of void shields as well in this raid, so this will definitely help you out. But really, it's kind of just your go-to preference. A lot of people use grenade launchers and things like that. Here's a Martyr's Retribution, which is great for clearing ads. There's also a new grenade launcher that came out this season from the Wrathborn hunts, so definitely check that out as well. But anything that you kind of just can slay out with is going to be key here in the first one, and then always have a damage weapon. So basically, Xenophage I know works flawlessly. We do it pretty much one phase every single time with Xenophage. If you just have kind of the team split out, have 2 people on Darkroom and 3 people on Light or whatever, just kind of split the team, and Xenophage crushes the fuses for the first encounter, so that's going to slay out. And obviously whatever you want in the primary for your auto rifle. Also, Overload rounds is right here, and there are Overload champions in this encounter, so I'd highly recommend having this on to make sure that you can stop them and get them killed. The last thing you want is an Overload running around during a damage phase and harassing your team. A bunch of people use shotguns, 4th Horseman. Celestial Nighthawks can be good here as well because you can basically one-tap out a fuse. And then, yeah, so those are pretty much the weapon choices for the beginning. And then over here, we'll kind of go through. I always just run, as you guys can see, I run as much recovery and as much intellect as possible. That's going to help you out in every single encounter. And for PvE in general, those are kind of the go-tos. This is definitely not optimized at all, as you guys can see. I haven't gone through dim and like really got the stat rolls down on this set of armor because I'm kind of just swapping a bunch. But ideally, the more intellect you can have and the more recovery you can have, the better you're going to be. Moving through, I kind of just run the ability mods on my Bond to give me back my abilities quicker. So I got Bomber and Distribution on. In here, I have the Scavengers, and then we're going to have Ammo Finders up top for the 2 weapons. You always want to have those on for whatever you're rocking, and now with the new Beyond Light changes, you can put any kind of mod. So once you have a set locked in, basically just hot swap to whatever weapons you're using for the encounters. So for this one specifically, I have the machine gun scavenger and the fusion rifle scavenger, and then machine gun finder, fusion rifle finder. That way I just basically always have these out. I don't ever really use my forward path too much in this first encounter. And then moving down, I still have a shotgun loader on for the primary, but you could swap this over to fusion rifle or even the machine gun so that you get the quick xenophage reloads during the damage phase. And then I'd highly recommend on your chest piece that you put in concussive dampener on, because there are exploding shanks during damage phase, and you do not want to die while you're trying to shoot out a fuse and you just have an exploder shank come up on your back. So this is going to really help with that damage reduction. I also do the melee in case stuff's running up to me. I basically just want to stay alive during the damage phase. So these two perks will definitely help you out with that. So make sure you have those on. And then protective light. So we use charge with light mods primarily. I know most of my team does. Protective light is insane. If you guys have it, we're always posting whenever the gunsmith is selling it. That's the only way to get it, is the gunsmith when he's randomly selling it one day. So if you don't have that, make sure you're checking every day. And we also post in our Discord and on our Instagram and stuff whenever he's selling it, or other good mods in general. But yeah, protective light is always a banger. And then you can see on my hood, I have taking charge to charge that up. And then also radiant light. This is one that people kind of don't really think about, because it's the plus 20 strength mod that people use for PvP. But it actually, every time you pick up a mod, pick up a orb of light, or casting your super, it causes nearby allies to become charged with light. So if you think about damage phases and things like that, if anyone's running Lucent Blade or high energy fire or even, protective light, every time you cast the super, this is going to give everyone around you charged with light, which is really good, especially if everyone's running charged with light mods. Also, guys, I forgot to mention, I do have Phoenix Protocol on in case you're doing multiple damage phases, if your team's not able to get the one phase off. But I'd highly recommend actually using Lunafaction Boots, because that's going to give you the increased reload speed again on your Xenophage to make sure that your gun's ready to go during those damage phases when the fuses are called. Alright guys, so moving into the next encounter, Atrax 1, I'd highly recommend using a primary that has a little bit more range, like a pulse or a scout rifle. This is definitely going to help you kill mobs that are a little bit further away. The rooms are kind of spaced out and you can't always get to them because they may be stacking on the boss's feet, and you definitely don't want to go in there and get stomped. So having that little bit of extra range is going to help you take out the mobs from afar. So I highly recommend that. Once again, I'm running the fusion rifle because it's easy to just kind of take out a bunch of targets at once. But once again, use the shoddy or maybe even a sniper to give you that range as well. And then finally, Lament, the most important part. Make sure you have this. This is a must for the one phase. And if you don't have that, it's super easy to get. You can get it in like an hour or two just doing the quick little mission from Banshee. And there's a lot of cool story implications too there. So I highly recommend doing that if you haven't already. But make sure you have this 100%. That is your damage beast. Moving on. Same thing here. No, nothing much changing. Once again, hot swap your mods for what weapons you're running. So sword scavenger instead of machine gun on this one. Same thing up here, sword finder instead of machine gun. I had an extra perk. Whenever I just kind of have an extra point here and I don't have anything in the last slot, I'll just run shield break. It's a really easy one that can just give you some extra charges. I like using that a lot. And then protective light again. And then over here, make sure that you swap the melee resistance to sniper. There's lots of sniper shanks in here, and the last thing you want is to be running around trying to get to your boss phase and there's a sniper shank up that just shoots you out. So this is definitely going to help with that, so I highly recommend it. Moving on to the Nuke Disarm encounter, the third encounter, I'd highly recommend everything is close range. Just keeping that Lament on. It's going to let you tear through all the ads. If your whole team's running this, nothing really should stand a chance. You just swipe away and GG. For the times you aren't using Lament, or maybe you're out of ammo in some cases or whatever, shotguns are really, really good here. And there are overloads once again, so I'd highly recommend using an auto rifle with your auto rifle overload rounds so that you can stop them if you need to. But in most cases, honestly, you can just straight DPS them down without ever even stopping them with Lament because of how good it is. They are going to teleport around, so for that reason, sometimes it's worth pulling out the auto rifle, stunning them, and then going to sword them or then going to shotgun them. But everything's going to be super close range, so I'd highly recommend going as close as possible. Swords and shotguns are killer here. Once again, you can use fusion rifles, and you can use the grenade launchers. Once again, with the wave, I've seen people using these. Some people even like to go up here and use Wither Horde because you can basically just put them down at the spawns, and then when the people walk, or when the ads walk out of the doors, they just instantly die. So that's another option. You can go the grenade launcher route if that's your preference, and just shoot the doorways to kill all the enemies upon spawn. Over here, same thing. Switch your scavengers, switch your finders. Make sure you have your overload rounds on, and you should be good to go. The shotgun ammo finder is from the season pass, costs a lot less points, so make sure you guys are using that. And then pretty much the same thing as always, protective light, especially here because there are a bunch of ads, and then make sure that you switch that sniper one back to melee. I don't think there's any snipers in this. There might be one or two, but for the most part, it's going to be a bunch of like vandals and things like that coming at you, the slice and dice invisible guys. So the melee damage resistance is going to be huge in this encounter. All right, and finally, we are here for the final boss, Taniks, the Abomination. Okay, guys, so this is what most of you guys are probably wondering about, and this is where I see the most controversy over like what to use. And I'm here to tell you, double slug shotguns with Anarchy is without a doubt the best damage you can do on this boss. All right, I have not seen anything even come close to it in the runs that I've done, and with the people that I've done. People have tried the Xenophage stuff, people have tried the I don't have it here, but Izanagi's. I've seen people use like other sniper combinations, different things like that. I promise you, shotguns are the best. You can do 2 million damage in a damage phase. So those are like the highest numbers. I haven't seen anything else even break maybe like 1.6 million. So this is insane. If you have this combo, make sure you're using it. Make sure that you have boss spec on your 2 shotguns. That's super important. For Heritage, highly recommend getting Reconstruction if you can. This weapon reloads itself over time. This is a new perk up to double capacity. So basically at the start of the damage phase, you're going to have 12 bullets in the mag, which is more than half of, it's like 60 or 70% of what it can hold in total. So this is definitely huge, and then it reloads itself while you have it away and you swap to the other guns. So this is definitely huge. Definitely be farming this if you're trying to pull guns out of the last chest. I'd highly recommend this. Recombination is also sick for this because basically elemental final blows increase the damage of this weapon's next shot. So off the rip, you're going to have plenty of Anarchy ammo in a 1 phase on this encounter. So I highly recommend using Anarchy to kill all of the ads off the rip. Like kill as many as you can, and that will stack up to 10. When you have a stack of 10 on the recombination, and then you use this first shot for boss damage, you're going to do 100,000 damage with the first shot alone. All right, so that's just insane. It's basically like 2 shots going off at once. So highly recommend getting this roll if you can. Once again, make sure you have boss spec on. Now, the most important thing for this damage to work is to rely on the Anarchy. The Anarchy is the most important part of this, okay? The shotguns help you keep up, but the Anarchy is the key. So make sure that you are prioritizing keeping the Anarchy up on the boss the entire time. If you put Anarchy on him and then you go through all 12, the Anarchy will have been off for a couple seconds at that point. So you need to stop like 6 rounds through and shoot this. 6 rounds through. I try to do like 6, 7 shots, more Anarchy. The more you can keep Anarchy up, the more damage you're going to do. You only need to have 2 shots on him at all times. That's the max damage. Having 3, 4, 5 doesn't do anything extra. So just make sure you keep 2 Anarchies up on him the entire time. Now the key here is to go through a bunch of damage, keep Anarchy up, swap to the other gun, and then reload when you get booped. You do not want to be in the circle reloading either of these guns. That's why you're rocking 2 of them, so you can just swap. Now, I highly recommend kind of using half of this, swap over to this, and then this can start recharging on itself. You can reload this during the swap, and now both guns should, or during the boop, and both guns should be back to full. So that's kind of the best way to manage it. It is going to take a little bit of practice, but you can easily do 2 million damage per boss phase and get the 1 phases easy if your team has this loadout. So that's what I highly recommend. Also, I know people are talking about Cloud Strike. I'm here to tell you the hype is way overhyped. Don't even bother. It's an easy mode strat if people don't have Anarchy or people don't have like the skills to do the swaps and things like that. But if your team's competitive, you're rolling with a good squad, this is definitely the loadout that you're going to want to rock. Moving on over here, same thing. Once again, scavs and ammo finders that match. So we have grenade launchers and shotguns. And then down here, this is also really important, is the loading. So every time that you're swapping these guns, every time that you're reloading, don't worry about the dexterity. It's definitely more important to make sure that you get these reloads off very quick. So shotgun loader, grenade launcher, reloader. And the grenade launcher one is actually on the season pass, or on the artifact. So make sure you get that. Sorry, I still have on Phoenix Protocol, but you're definitely going to want to make sure that you have Lunafaction boots for your wells. It will take 2 wells because it is more than a 30-second damage phase when you do the 4 core strategy. So you are going to need 2 people with Lunafaction boots, and that's going to increase your reload speed greatly. And then on your chest, highly recommend, again, melee damage resistance. This is going to help a lot. All those big captains are really the only thing that's going to kill you in this encounter. And when you're carrying bombs back with the 4 core, it's so important that everybody lives, and you don't want to get meleeed by a captain and die. So definitely make sure that you have this on, and concussive just for anything else that you might have to worry about. And protective light, again, even if that captain is on you, beating you to death, protective light's going to keep you alive. So make sure that those mods are equipped. All right, so yeah, guys, that's pretty much what we use in our runs. They've been super successful, and pretty much we've tested out all kinds of different stuff, and that is definitely the best things that we have found and I've seen across Reddit or anything else, and I highly recommend using it. We've been able to do a bunch of speed runs. We actually we posted a video 2 days ago on our channel of like a 27-minute run or so, 27:50, I think, or 27:19. And we did one yesterday in like 26:30. So very, very fast runs with this. Easy one phase on every single boss, and I highly recommend. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this. If it does, please drop a like, subscribe for more, lots more videos coming. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.